Hi everyone, today we will be making a traditional Bangladeshi dish, which is a sweet dish known as a Handesh. So here we have 5 cups of rice flour and 5 cups of plain flour. So if you have an equal ratio of rice flour to plain flour, that will be perfect for the ingredients. And then here we have a very special ingredient, special all the way from Bangladesh. You can see this is in a clay pot. This is what we call gur in Urdu or in many Asian languages. In English, I would describe this as date molasses. So it's made from pure dates. Okay, so this is going to be another ingredient that's going to go into the bowl. So we're just going to pour the gur into the rice and plain flour. The gur is slightly dry, but that's not a problem. That's quite normal for the gur to crystallize, but you can see deeper within the pot it's actually quite moist. Very nice and sweet ingredient this is. I love this. I use this for many different dishes, and this is just one of them. So we're going to be putting in approximately 5 cups of gur in there as well. So you've got an equal mixture of rice flour, plain flour and gur at the same ratio. You can see that the gur is nice and soft inside, and it's becoming like a liquid form, whereas on top it had crystallized and hardened. This is really fresh gur. I've just had a taste of it and it's absolutely delicious. It's got a nice fragrance of good premium dates, and it's got a lovely sweet taste to it. It's a good alternative to use instead of sugar. It does give the dish a brown color because the actual ingredient is brown, as you can see. It's very dark brown in color, so it will give it that brown color, but the flavor is much better than sugar. It gives it a nice aroma and a sweet taste. Okay, so we've emptied the contents of this clay pot into this pot here. You can see all the gur is in there, and there is still some gur on the side of this, inside of this clay pot. So we've added some hot water in there, and we're just going to make sure we make full use of the gur. So we're going to pour some of the water, not all of it, some of it into the ingredients. And it is a traditional dish, so we're using hands to mix the ingredients rather than just putting it into a blender. So it does look a bit messy, but this is the traditional way of making handesh. And we are going to stick to our traditional methods rather than just sticking it into a blender because the consistency won't be right. So you can see that the flour and the rice flour is mixing nicely with the gur and turning into a nice brown color. This will then be fried, deep fried in hot oil, similar to dumplings, and I'll show you that when we do that. So as you can see, the ingredients have been mixed thoroughly, lovely consistency there. And what's going to happen is we are going to leave this for a good few hours, so a minimum of 2 hours. It needs to be left like that We are going to leave it for a few hours before we fry the dumplings. This will allow the ingredients to infuse, especially the rice flour, which is quite coarse, and soak up all the liquids and water and soften up. So that's what's going to happen next. We're just going to leave it for a couple of hours before we fry. It's been a good few hours since we left the mixture to infuse, and now we are frying the dumplings. As you can see, they've just been fried. You know that they're ready once they start floating, and they start looking like round balls floating on top of the oil. And they turn into a lovely brown colour. Using a long cocktail stick to move them around and also pull them out of the frying pan. So these are some of the handeshes that we have already fried. They're looking really nice and soft, crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. I'm going to just try one here. Let's see. Lovely brown colour, nice and sweet, crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. Let's just try this out. You see? Perfect.